in the competition.
Unless they're full-time according to the definition of full-time for the academics, for the institution in which they're attending.
Yeah, so it's hard enough, of course, for a community college because we have to usually uh, start a new team every year, comparison to a four-year institution where some of the teams have been together for maybe 4 or 5 or 6 years.
And I
And of
totally
course,
understand.
a graduate student at a four-year institution can take maybe one class and be considered a full-time student, huh?
No,
Some research classes, in regards to weighting dissertation or something like that,
uh, you,
automatically.
however, their institution defines full-time is the determines that definition.
So
Here at Cal
automatically,
State,
this is gonna affect most community colleges
and
because
has for 12 years.
I know it, yeah, because Chafee just dropped out, and we're going to be dropping out because of our
Mm,
roster.
right.
I don't know about because most of our students, come during the night or automatically take anywhere from 6 to 8 units. So automatically, I don't know if San Francisco or Coastline is in that same situation. But we have a majority of the students that are heavily involved in the security club and everything else that are at the college for many semesters and taking credit, but they cannot compete this year. So we may have to drop out because of that requirement. And that's why I just wanted it defined.
Yeah, and I know Skip contacted me about that as well,
Yeah.
and it's part of the reason why Mount Sac doesn't participate as well. They
And,
have the same
and
challenge.
Coastline or San Francisco may have that same problem if they look at automatically the transcripts or take a look at 12 units. There's a lot of
Right.
units for a night student.
Is that what RCC's
Yeah,
definition of
yeah,
full
that's what
time is? 12 units?
community college considers 12 units a full-time student.
Okay.
So automatically, that would be every community college in California has that same
Okay.
requirement. So, okay, I just wanted to let that out there because
And
I
I
think we
went
may
to
have to drop
nationals
out.
with that request as well. So I did take it back up to nationals, and I said, hey, we've got this issue. We have very strong community college interest, 2-year institutions looking to participate, and it's a challenge for them. Is there discussion that we can change the full-time requirement? And the answer came back that no. Anytime that this had been discussed, and they have involved 2-year institutions in the discussion, that the answer was no. That it was agreed upon that there were specific reasons that tied to, uh, keeping full-time requirement in the rules. So.
Yeah. Okay, I just wanted to, next time there's a discussion on that, community colleges would certainly like a voice in that because, as I said, we've had students multiple semesters taking 8 or 9 credits involved in security competitions, involved in our security club, multiple certificates, multiple industry certifications, but those individuals may not be able to participate because they do not have 12 units. And
Right.
this will affect probably 100% of the night students. That sometimes, well, you may have one or two that are taking classes during the day, but 12 units at night is almost an impossible thing with the amount of night classes that are
Oh,
going on.
I do understand.
Thank
I
you.
really do. And just and I see Sam had made a comment that it makes sense to have a 2-year version of this event. Uh, justifying a spin-off. Well, the interest from teams is really not the biggest challenge to a CCDC. The greatest challenge to a CCDC is the volunteer power that keeps the competition just going from year to year. Retaining people with the enough interest to do all the planning and organizing for it is actually the greatest challenge. So yeah, it would be great to have a 2-year version of the CCDC event. And evidently, Dwayne Williams, who's the lead judge from National, said that there was discussion about having another CCDC for 2-year schools where the full-time requirement would be waived, but was voted down mainly by the 2-year schools. So
I don't know where that discussion came because we have been involved in many years, but never heard of that open discussion for that. And I don't know
because
if Stan,
Nationals is centered out of San Antonio, I'm guessing it was probably something that I was not part of that discussion either. So
okay, I'll just go offline, but I think it's something that should be revisited uh, throughout our region and throughout nationals on that because of automatically right now you're going to have 3 community colleges drop out because of this, and
yeah.
it may affect more. But thank you,
Well,
Michelle.
you're welcome. And I saw a comment from Alejandro stating that because they have a very small team, that it just makes them, they're running with a very, a smaller skill set, if you want to call it that, than any other team that has like a 12-man contingency. So we recognize that.
Well,
My
well, the
encouragement
size.
for the smaller size of the team could mean that there's just more for everybody to do, but that you make your choices really, really well. We have had a 5-man team win the 3rd place in the Western region competition 2 years in a row. So first year it happened to be DeVry. And then
Oh,
the
by the
second
way,
year,
Michelle, what is the requirements for a full-time student at a for-profit institution? How many
it's
units?
whatever their definition of a full-time student is.
So that could be completely different in a community college
It's,
and a
yes,
4-year institution.
yes, it could be.
Okay, I just wanted to throw that out.
Sure. No, it's worthwhile talking about. Thanks for bringing it up, Jim. Anybody else got any questions or comments?
Yeah, is that full-time requirement for this semester or next semester or both?
So if you are a full-time student this semester and the semester ends before the Western Regional qualifier happens, then and you're a senior, you can go part-time next semester, but you're supposed to be a full-time student.
Okay,
when
yeah,
you
it's
complete.
not an issue for me. Our semester ends in like a week. So I was just asking for other students on my team.
Right, right. Any other questions? Okay. The 4th requirement for the qualifier has been the invoice payment of your $500 registration fee. And because we haven't been as quick at getting the invoices out as I would want, we will not be holding that requirement this time around. I've been told that we should have the invoices next week, but I know most everybody's going into the holiday season mode, and so it may not be possible for us to get the money in time. So we're waiving that requirement. So do not worry if we do not have your money in hand. If you want to participate in the qualifier, everybody is welcome to participate. So just FYI, that's kind of our issue and not yours, that we can't get the invoices out. If you want to pay with a credit card, let me know and I will get you the person's name that you want to contact for paying with a credit card. Okie dokie. In January also, we're going to start talking more about getting resumes from your teams. If anybody's looking for an internship or employment, we want your resume. Our sponsors would love to have your resume. So students, they need to start working on those resumes and get them polished up. Have them looked at. If you have an organization on campus that can assist with that, do that. If not, read up on articles for doing resumes. Highly recommend it. We want to make a good impression on our sponsors. So be looking for that. Also, Palo Alto Networks is going to be sponsoring this year, and they're going to be offering up training. And so for anybody who's participating in the qualifier, we will be getting you guys set up with training with Palo Alto. Even if you don't make it to the regional, I would encourage you to take advantage of this free training and get familiar with Palo Alto's products. So, hey, James, I think I see that you're on the call. You want to say hi to everybody and talk about the practice environment and how long that's going to last and anything else, any other questions they may have?
Hi. Yeah, I mean, there's not really been any change. Yeah, the Palo Alto, I'm not exactly sure what the training is going to look like. We're looking at integrating it into the qualifier topology. I doubt you're going to see it for the upcoming invitational, but yeah, so I'll have more info on that later. That just came up a week or so ago.
Is anybody having any issues with the practice environment? You got any questions at all? So James, so the practice environment will continue to be available through to the next invitational, or are you going to cut off the environment? How long before the invitational?
I usually cut it off the day before the invitational, so I think that's already set. But yeah, we should have at least up until the day or two before the invitational.
Okay, it looks like somebody had the question about the competition room having connection to the internet. Is that what you're talking about, Coastline? Oh, the question is they need passwords reset because they have some users that are no longer around, and that's for the practice environment. Is that what your question is, Coastline? You want to speak up?
Yeah, if you need passwords reset for the practice environment, then shoot me an email at james@wrccdc.org, and I can get those reset for you. There's no reset feature within the NetLab.
Any other questions?
How do we get access to that lab? I heard about these practice labs, but I didn't hear about the credentials at all. So, yeah.
Oh, you didn't got credentials for them, Zach?
Right. Yeah.
Oh, okay. My bad, I guess. Typically, when a team kind of signed up, I usually James had given me a whole set of them, so we'll have to get a set made up for you as well.
Okay. Thank you. That'd be great because up until now we've just been making our own practice kind of environment. So.
Okay. I'll get you the URL and your creds sent out. All right.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate it, Michelle.
Any other questions? James, you got any words of wisdom for the teams at all?
No, not particularly.
All right. So FYI, we will meet, the next meeting we have will take place on January 12th, which will be the Friday before the next invitational. It'll be 2 o'clock, of course. At that particular day, well, not at 2 o'clock, but on that day by midnight, I do need for you to have your list of competitors. I need a name, the names of who your competition team is going to be for the qualifier. So the rule is 2 weeks before the event, your list of competitors need to be identified. So that will be due on that particular day. There is new changes to the rule about substitutions. And so I thought you should become aware that the rule reads as follows. Once a CCDC event has begun, a team must complete the competition with the team that started the competition. So the qualifier is one competition. Substitutions, additions, or removal of team members are prohibited except for extreme circumstances. So I'm going to define extreme circumstances for you. Say somebody gets sick and you end up needing to replace that person. I will allow substitution for that. If somebody gets a job and ends up not being able to serve on the team, I will allow a substitution for that. It still is that it ties to your team roster. So your team of 12, if you have a team of 12, I know that all teams have 12 on their team. So if you have 12 on your team and you have your competitors identified and one of those ends up being very sick, we will allow substitutions, but it must be someone pulled from your roster, okay? The other piece is that you're supposed to do the request in writing. If it's a time-sensitive issue, say it's the night before, then maybe a email might not be quick enough, but do send an email. If the issue comes up, we will deal with it as is. For those of you who actually have my phone number, a lot of the coaches have my number, you can call me and we can get that approved as well. So I know this is a significant change from the past, but just FYI, this is my definition of extreme circumstances. Anybody got any questions about this change for substitutions? The other part of the substitution is, so say that you contact me and you say, we need to replace this person, then that person will be the person that will compete in that event. We're not going to go back and forth. Oh, so-and-so can now make it. We're going to swap them back. No, you make the change. That's the person that we're going to go with. Okay. So that way it just kind of keeps down the confusion. If there are no other questions, I see there's a question in the chat. It's back about the practice environment, James. This one is for you. Is the practice environment supposed to be patchable from the internet?
Theoretically, yes, assuming you have internet access. I don't think I did anything specifically to prevent that, unless DNS is broken or something like that.
Is there any other team that's having an issue with patching? Okay. Well, I don't have anything unless there's any other questions from the students. All righty.
One question is just, could you just quickly review what are the very important deadlines so I can tell the students that need to get days off what days they need off?
Oh, well, the deadlines aren't necessarily that they need to take time off, but the qualifier will be January 27th. So that's a Saturday. So they will need to have that day off. We'll start prep at 8:30 in the morning. The competition will actually begin at 9:30. This is all Pacific Standard Time. So for you Arizona, Nevada teams, if you're not on the same time zone as California, Then in addition to that, we will go until 3:30 when we will then have a Q&A time, and then we will announce who our 8 teams are that are going to the regional. So that's the qualifier event. If you're talking about the invitational, the next invitational, which is Saturday, January 13th, that will be another day, though the time frames are a little bit shorter because the invitationals are only 4 hours long. And then down the road, when we have the regional event, it'll be in March. And so we will start the regional event on Friday, March 23rd. The event will go till 9 o'clock at night. We will then start Saturday morning and go through till 5 or 6. And then Sunday morning, we will have the Q&A and awards ceremony and find out who's actually going on to the national CCDC competition. So does that help you out, Zach?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Good deal. All right. Any other questions? Cool. Very cool. Happy holidays, everybody. Be safe out there and enjoy and treasure the time. And we will talk to you in a month. And as always, drop me a line or drop James a line if you have technical questions. And we wish you the very best. And we'll see you next year.
Thank you, folks.
Thanks,
Good
Alex.
break.
You too.
Take care.
Bye.